Hello and welcome to Putin Football First. I'm Tony Vidre, this is Jonathan Pointer, and what a contrast from one night to the next. Last night's round of matches that finalised match day 3, finalised the entire group phase. We're 3/4 of the way through the World Cup by matches played, 48 matches played, 16 to go. Not quite what we were expecting last night in terms of quality of football on the park.
Good morning, Tony. Good morning. Yeah, it was an interesting night last night. The first night I've actually dozed off a couple of times during games, and it was one of those who cares evenings. And they do happen in World Cups.
They do.
We've got that to cover. We'll talk about that more later today. But in breaking news, we've got a big bit of news to bring you. Tim Cahill has just contacted us to announce that he will in fact be playing on to the next World Cup. We're going to get comment from whoever we think the coach will be in 4 years' time, along with a couple of his playing colleagues. Let's see, Vince Grella and Mark Bresciano, to see what they think about the big move, the bold move by Tim Cahill.
And also some comment from his nursing home as well.
Indeed. And welcome back. We're going to talk about last night's games, even though most of Australia and possibly half the world was asleep, unless you were a particular fan of the teams that were playing. Tony, let's start with the England-Belgium game.
What an interesting match. Two teams who were trying in the first half desperately to finish second, lose. Very odd.
Just for people that are watching, the team that finishes first goes into the side of the draw where Brazil will be sitting waiting for them. Maybe not in the next game, but the game after that.
Yeah.
So the objective out of this game was to actually come second in the group, not first.
And theoretically end up on the other side, which the theory is that it's a lot easier with Spain waiting for you.
Indeed, yeah.
So I don't understand it. I don't get that at all. But then all of a sudden,
at the very least, they would be playing not to get injuries.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's just knock it out.
And even like watching some of the replays, Rashford, I reckon, had 2 chances where he aimed about a metre outside of the post.
Yeah, Rashford doesn't miss like that on 6 days a week and twice on Sundays.
So it was ordinary.
The game started with
first half was ordinary. Yeah,
I think Gareth Southgate subbed 8 of his normal first string players and put the second string on.
Well, there were 17 changes to both teams from the round 2 match,
which says we're really trying hard.
And I know we're probably jumping ahead to our favourite tweets or whatever, but Cesc Fabregas actually tweeted saying that I was so looking forward to watching this match. Forget it, I'm now going out for dinner.
I think we all felt a bit that way.
But all of a sudden something changed in the second half, and I think some commentators were saying that the crowd were booing them. I thought that's not going to change your behaviour. So all of a sudden something changed, and the two teams actually went at each other. And Belgium thought, well, what the heck, let's play positively. I've seen so many times in World Cups where teams have rested their players in the final match and then lost the round of 16 because they've lost all of their rhythm, all of their momentum, and all of their their creativity, and just they become clunky. And I don't get it. I don't understand that tactic.
So we'll examine the next games later. But would you think England and Colombia and Belgium will suffer because of that? Do you think they'll come into their round of 16 games being a bit rusty now?
I think England will. I don't think Belgium will. I think Belgium are a lot smarter, but I don't think England have got the smarts to, because it's a young team, it's new. I don't think they've got the smarts to be able to flick the switch. So I thought they would have needed a bit of a rhythm to keep building in the tournament. The teams that win this start off a little bit slow and they keep building and keep building. You don't sort of go back. And
Germany was looking really good for a win.
They were looking. They played magnificently in the last 90 seconds of each of their matches.
That's right. Good finishes, I hear.
Das Mannschaft.
All right, let's move 1-0 to Belgium. Yep. Belgium now go through, and if they get through their round of 16, is likely to come up against a fierce Brazil. England is likely to come up against Spain. So let's move on to the next game. This one everybody was up for, Panama versus Tunisia.
Terrific match. Look, all jokes aside, Panama scored first, and again they get their second goal of the World Cup, and again the reactions in the crowd were just terrific.
And that's really nice.
Oh, it was terrific. I love stories like this. But then Tunisia turned it around and finally
showed that they can play football.
That's it.
Actually, that's not fair. They played really well against England.
They played well, and
they did.
But
again, the result doesn't matter. So let's move on.
But again, look, just within that game, again it highlighted, and if you watch the highlights of that match, the power of taking first-time shots. None of this mucking around. The goals banged in.
Australia, are you watching?
Are you watching Australia?
Moving right along. Now, this game is really interesting. Japan v Poland. Now, Japan lost this game, but as a result of other games, slide through into the round of 16. Do you want to explain that, Tony?
I'm not sure where I can start. I've never seen a team losing 1-0 that in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game
tried so hard to lose 1-0.
They were trying. They weren't even going forward. Their coach had actually instructed them to stop and to go back and to save themselves. But the problem with that was it still hinged on the other result. Had Senegal in the other game scored, it would have knocked Japan out. So it was a very, very interesting and appalling tactic. We'll talk about Hikon in a moment. That's the 82 disaster that was supposed to stop all of this. And you had an equal record, 4 points, a win, a loss, a draw, equal goal difference, equal goals scored, equal head-to-head result, and so it dropped all the way down. There's only two more ways to separate them. One was yellow cards, this FIFA fair play, which I want to talk about. And then if that hadn't split, it would have gone to the drawing of lots. So by virtue of the fact that Japan had 4 yellow cards, Senegal had 6, Japan go through on this FIFA ruling of fair play.
And isn't that amazing though? Sometimes managing a team and coaching a team is about probabilities rather than football.
Yeah.
You know, he stood there and went, the probability of Senegal actually equalising against Colombia is pretty low. We're going to get through. Let's just not get a yellow card. Okay, fellas, pass it round the back.
He told them, don't get a yellow card.
That last 3 minutes was something I've never seen in a World Cup before. And I'm sure it's happened, but I haven't seen it before.
Well, I want to talk about a different way of doing things when we get off the topic. But I think it's just, I think it's a flawed logic to say, the team that has sinned the least goes through, rather than actually rewarding the team that actually plays. Best.
I'll give you an alternate view on that, Tony.
Wonderful, good.
A bit later. We're being wound up by Gabe. So now the last game, a really interesting one, Senegal-Colombia. This was one where the results were going to be decided, or the results were going to decide a lot of teams.
Yeah, that's it. So Colombia were on 3, Senegal were on 4 points. Colombia had to win the game, and again another South American team that comes out knowing they have to get the result, like Argentina against Nigeria the other night, and they just produced. They attacked all game, and they made sure that they got the result that leapfrogged Senegal.
That's right. And look, for me, the hard part of the moment was, I think, 31 minutes. James Rodriguez off. Yeah. Apparently injured. Apparently there's a calf muscle problem that he's been carrying all tournament. Hopefully we can see him on the park for the round of 16 or even the quarterfinals. I think they have what it takes to get through perhaps the next match, depending on who they're coming up with without him.
Well, it's England, so we'll talk about that
But
later.
his replacement was Muriel. And Muriel came on, and look, the team just wasn't quite the same.
Oh, well, I was hoping that Muriel would play quite poorly.
Well, I think he did.
You thought he played?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So Jonathan thinks Muriel, you're terrible, Muriel.
And again, one of those really long ups to a lame joke. You heard it here first on
Champagne comedy, is
Putin
it?
Football. All right, we'll be back in a moment to talk about what next.
Welcome back to Putin Football First. Now, one of the matches decided last night was done on FIFA's fair play ruling. There's a bit of irony around the word fair play and a team that just decided not to attack at all in the second half. I think it's a flawed system, yellow and red cards. I think there's a little bit too much certainty in this 32-team World Cup, where teams know where they're going to be, who they're going to meet in the next rounds. By the time Group H and Group G are decided, they already know which paths they're going to take in that. And you'll see the graphic, if we're going to have a look at the graphic at some stage as well, the paths that they're going to take to the World Cup. And so teams can manipulate the results in either trying to finish second or first. I think there needs to be a little bit more uncertainty in the game, and by that I mean I think you need to leave a little bit of mystery around it. So take you back to the 1990 World Cup, where it was a 24-team World Cup, and what happened back then, there were only 6 groups. The top 2 of each group went through, that's 12 teams, and then 4 teams were selected out of the best teams that finished third. So you did not know right up until that final whistle was blown as to which of those 4 teams were going to make it through. They were always looking over their shoulder going, what's happening over in these other... And there was a little table that they all fit into a particular table, and depending on where in the table those 4 teams finished, they all went in different directions. So even the teams that finished first, they had no idea who they were going to play in the round of 16. It was terrific drama in that there was a lot of mystery around it, and you couldn't manipulate the results. Those teams played football right up until the 95th minute. This rubbish that we've got at the moment, where let's get it. It's like the accountants are on the sideline. Yeah. The accountants are on the. This is all done by the accountants. It surprised me that you don't like this system. I don't like this system. Let's count up the yellow and red cards, and let's do the point system. Just
find out if you made a profit after the event. Who cares?
I think there needs to be a little bit of uncertainty around it. I'd like to see, instead of yellow and red cards, I'd like to see a point system based on shots on goal, shots on target, and passes. Come up with a system that rewards teams for going forward, taking the shots on goal, whether it's a point each.
So this is
shots
when they're on
target.
equal points
Yeah.
and equal goal difference.
And
Then
the
it
head-to-head
goes
result,
down
then it
through
goes-
shots on goal,
Yeah.
shots on target.
Allocate a
etc.
system of points, like a shot on goal's worth 2 points, a shot on target's worth 5 points, like a save or hit the post or something, and then passes are worth, I don't know, half a point each or something like that. So that way, it's always changing, right? It's always changing. You might sit there and go, because the way we had it at the moment, we knew 4 yellow cards and 6 on the other side. So that was static. That didn't change. This way, it's always, every pass changes, every shot on goal.
So a team that was looking down the barrel of being on equal points with 10 minutes to go can just pass the buggery out of the ball.
That's it. But
Just bang it around,
keep moving it around and keep going forward.
Get-
Japan, it would have forced them to go forward because not Japan so much. It would have forced Senegal to go forward and take shots on goal to get to get that.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Leave it to an accountant to bring it down to let's count more things right, instead of less things to decide who goes through. Look, Tony, I do
think
agree
the
with
football,
you.
the FIFA World Cup needs to be decided by a slide rule and a calculator.
I think you should run for FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
I really do think you should. Australia, take note, Tony for FIFA.
Yep.
We're going to start a hashtag.
Tony for president.
All right, we'll be back in a moment. Hell is that going to work when we put 48 teams in a World Cup?
look,
nobody's got a calculator that big.
Look, it's just live spreadsheets, pivot tables.
I can see the commentary now, and the fifth pivot over here.
Well, what you got the VAR room, then you got the accountants room as well. So let's cut to the accountants room.
And of course, the accountants never get it wrong.
No, of course not. It could work. It's going to be better than the shit they've got now. How's 48 teams going to work?
It's going to be awesome.
Oh,
we're going to have even less sleep.
Oh, that's going to, Schmozzle 48. Who came up with that?
All right, and we're back. Now, there are no games tonight. We get some sleep and gives us a chance to sort of stop and reflect a bit. This has been a solid slog for us. In fact, I believe that you and I are the only other daily show with the same compares every day, apart from Hugo Boss and Vera Wang on SBS.
Is that right?
You can see they're doing a much better job than we are.
Is that a badge of honour? Or?
I think it is.
Yeah, of course it
Daily
is.
Podcasts that we listen to are all starting to close down now because Australia's not in the World Cup. But the other thing is,
we'll be here.
Teams like Optus Sport, when you get to see them, have multiple teams covering multiple games, so they all get a bit of a breather. Hats off to Lucy and Foz. We know what it's like. It's killing us, and you guys are doing a much better job than us. But it's now a time to take a break, and in that moment we can reflect a little bit. I think the biggest reflection going on around Australia now is what happened and where do we go?
Yep.
You know, we had Ange Postecoglou barreling down this single-minded path. We should be attacking. We should not be the also-rans, etc. He was just running out of players to actually execute it with.
That's it.
The FFA went, okay, we've got a tournament. We can't look too stupid. Let's go back to the pragmatism of the Dutch. And look how that went again. And now we go to a new era. There's a lot of talk about the identity of Australian football. Let's talk firstly about the likely team in 2022. We're going to lose a few of the senior players. I think Milligan will be out. Tim Cahill, as we heard earlier, is going to have a crack at staying in the team.
Were you joking about that, or were you serious?
What do you think?
Well, Roger Miller. I thought it was going to be another Roger Miller.
So, look, where do we go with Australian football? I have an opinion, but I'm interested in yours.
Well, you've got Daniel Arzani that came on the scene in, the last 12 months? The next World Cup is, 4 years away? I'd like to think, in about 2 years' time, there'll be some rising star, a 17, 18, 19-year-old that can come out and start to do this. We need firepower up front. Rogic is, he's 25, so he's got another World Cup in him. Yep. He will get better over the next 4 years.
Moy should be there.
Moy should be there as well. I think we're relying a little bit too much on the Dutch coach, the Dutch influence. Again, the Dutch were terrific in 1974. Not so much now. We're relying a little bit too much. Jurgi Loos free.
Aussie Goose did well.
Look, he did. But again, that's 12 years ago.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and world football's changed.
And it's changed. And we can see how quickly the sands shift. All of a sudden, Germany's out. Jurgi Loos free, so we might be able to get him down under for a
Where's that glove? I'm not shaking his hand.
Well, no one's going to shake his hand if he comes down to personal hygiene habits. Look, I just think that there's a real what do you call it? forgotten the word now. You might have to edit it out. What's the bloody word I'm looking for?
See, it's killing both of us. We're both getting Alzheimer's working with this little...
Polarising. That's the word I'm after.
I just feel for
polarised. We just feel for 2 minutes. The polarised view of what do we do? Do we do what we did in 2014? We lost 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. We let in 3 goals in each match.
2014 was
but we attacked. Bad. We looked great. No, but we looked good.
Yeah, we gave it to them. We just lost by a mile.
That's it. So what we did is we attacked. We got caught on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
This World Cup, we didn't score. We didn't really let in. Do you know our Group C? I looked at this this morning. Our Group C had the lowest number of goals of all the group. 9-4, 9 against.
Yep.
Right. The England one, I think, was 20-something, 24 goals.
Much more interesting.
Yeah, 24. Well, Belgium, they smashed them 5-2 and 6. So our group was the tightest group of the of all of the groups.
I think that's
but
a
is
reflection.
that what we want? Do we want the 1-0 loss or the 1-0 victory, or do we go and we lose 3-2?
Can the world shake the old Italian adage? You win a World Cup with defence.
What we hold, we hold.
I think we've reached a point where that's no longer the adage. It's now you can't win if you don't score, but you still need to not concede.
Yeah, that's
and this is the challenge of the beautiful game, isn't it? When you start pushing forward and up high, you leave gaps, you concede goals.
I've said it. Look, I said it before a couple of nights or mornings ago when the Socceroos were knocked out. I think over the next 4 years we need a coach that teaches them to make the correct decisions in the pressure moments. You know, whether it's the cutback or whether it's passing it to the first time crosses in. None of this rubbish of that. There was so much focus on
the
possession.
The calibre of player that we have at the moment, they should know that.
But they don't execute it. So who's telling them to instead? And again, there were Argentina's goal. So many first-time shots that are going in. We're not doing that. We keep crossing the ball back, and next thing you know, we're playing safe. We're playing safe. This 99% possession football.
And look, credit to Ange Postecoglou. As a coach, he was the one man that stood there and said, we don't play it safe. That's not our way.
Yeah, that's it.
And when he'd had enough and spat his dummy, we immediately went back to let's go and play it safe because we can't afford to be embarrassed.
That's it.
Now, we weren't embarrassed, but did we get anywhere?
We didn't get anywhere. That's it.
Are we going to, sort of go hard or go home?
Yeah, that's
or are we just going to keep turning up and surviving and being, hey, aren't they good? The good little Australians, they're coming along.
This is this whole question about what's our identity? What are we going to do? Are we the boxing kangaroo? Do we have an emu and a kangaroo on our coat of arms for no reason? We don't go backwards. We go forwards, and this is the thing.
Well, no, you've got to do both. But is it time to have 2 coaches? Is it time for the coaching rationale to have a defensive coach and an attacking?
Yeah, we need a technical coach.
Maybe in midfield that can keep them apart. Yeah. But to be honest, I don't think it's got anything to do with the coaching. I think it's the coaches. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that from 6 years old to 9 years old in this country, our kids don't play enough football.
Yeah.
Right, it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
You go to Brazil, you go to Argentina. They're in the streets. They don't have iPads. Yeah. They're in the streets kicking a ball.
Yeah, that's it.
And their first touch, and I think first touch is the biggest problem we have.
Yep.
We either don't shoot with the first touch, or it looks like a shot, but we were trying to control the ball.
Yeah.
And I think when you've got better ball control, you've got choices. You can then make those decisions the right way because you know your foot's going to do the natural thing with the ball.
Yeah.
I've watched some of the Brazilians take long passes and rockets, and they just put a toe up. They're thinking about that while their foot brings the ball in. We don't have that, and we don't have a culture that's going to allow that to happen. I think we need to rethink how we do football generally in Australia at this level. We need to bring it in at 6 to 9, but then we need to have a system whereby the half-decent talent gets fed away.
Yeah.
Take them to the top flight countries, let them get their experience, then bring them back.
Yeah. We have a problem in this country in that football is the 4th ranked most popular sport, right? Yep. There's rugby league, AFL, rugby union in no particular order, and then you've got football, soccer as we know it down here. And it's the highest,
with the highest level of participation.
But I was going to say it's the highest level of participation, but it's also the highest. The number one sport for the highest drop off. They get because soccer. Mums don't want their kids to play collision. They don't want their kids to play collision sports when they're 5 and 6 years of age. But by the time they get to about 10, they go, I don't want to play this anymore, and they move to the other sports. So we've got the biggest drop off. But to me, the players that are still playing there are not. There should be coaches or clubs that go, look, you Miranda, you really need to come over here and learn, a few more skills.
Well, you know what? I think if those 6,
that was 3 to 9, by the way.
Hi, Miranda.
Yeah, it wasn't the Brazilian
we miss
playing
you here.
Miranda.
Your dad's much better behaved when you're here. I think there's something about the way we coach our 4 to 9 year olds that isn't introducing the love of the game.
Yeah.
Now, I've coached a number of clubs. I love them all.
Yeah.
But we rely on volunteer mum and dads,
Yeah.
and God bless them. But they can't invest in the children a total love of the game. They're almost babysitting.
Yeah. Well, I've coaching this year for the
Can
first time.
we support them better?
Yeah, I'm coaching for the very first time.
We've seen your
this
coaching
year.
techniques.
Yeah. Do you want, actually, can we just cut to my coaching techniques?
There it is. That explains the entire problem with the Australian soccer team.
What, again, all jokes aside, the first thing that I did is I gave them this symbol of this, right? Which was, if you see me doing...
It's disgusting.
If you see me doing this, it means control the ball. Your first touch is to control the ball. Then you decide what to do with it. And that group of great little 9 and 10-year-olds that I have, they were all over the place. Their first touch was spraying everywhere, or they're trying to kick it. They miss air swings, all that sort of stuff. So on the sideline, control the ball, and now you can see them. They'll tell each other. They'll yell, "Hey, control the ball." So, but I agree with you. They haven't been taught. They should have been taught that at sixes. By the time they get to 10, they should be.
But I think we need to teach them to revere those skills as well.
Yeah,
the greats at this level, the way they control the ball is to be revered. I think they take it as an instruction. I've got to control the ball. That's part of the beautiful game.
Messi's goal against Nigeria. Look at the way he controlled the ball with his hip.
And it went. Yep.
With his hip. So look, again, we have a problem again at grassroots. So it's got to go back to basics. I think a lot of the problem is the FFA are charging too much. Families are paying way too much to have their kids play football. I think that the fees are up around $150, $180,
if not higher,
for a 6-year-old to play. And then if you want to go on the development side, it's about $550. It's, to me, again, I think again.
But that doesn't happen in Brazil.
Well, we've made the World Cup. We get $10 million US for making the 32. That money needs to go into the grassroots stuff, not paying a coach from the Netherlands $10 million to coach the Socceroos over the next 4 years. Put that into the development.
Well, there you go. Everybody's got an opinion on this. It's a hot topic. Please let us know what you think on our Twitter or Facebook feeds. We'd love to know what you think about the future of the Australian game. We just fart us about here, but it is of concern. But we got a chance. We got 4 years to get this right. Yeah. I think we need 8, but there you go. Yeah, we're going to be back in a moment. Gabe's going blue behind the camera, so we need to roll it up, and we'll be back in a moment with what's happening next in the World Cup. Okay, enough about the future of Australian sport. Before we get too depressed, let's talk about what is going to be an awesome night on Saturday night. We've got 2 round of 16 games, and at the end of this, at least 1, but probably 2 superpowers will have been knocked out. Yep.
Can we just have a quick look at the graphic? This is a terrific graphic that shows you the road. So as you can see, there's the left-hand side of the grid, the right-hand side, and they march towards the World
centre.
Cup trophy in the centre. Yeah. So, in top left-hand corner, Uruguay versus Portugal. I have no idea.
You'd have to say on paper Portugal might edge this, but then Uruguay is one of those teams that when they get firing is very tricky to handle.
Do you think both teams are rely too much on one player? You've got Portugal relying too much on Ronaldo, and Uruguay relying a little bit too much on Suarez? I
think Uruguay has Caballero.
Yeah. Cavani.
I know it's Cavani. I'm now being funny, but
Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
And they've actually got some solid defenders as well. Yeah, I like the way Uruguay play. It's almost Australian. It's very physical.
Yeah.
And if you've grown up with Australian football, you like physical football.
Yeah, that's it.
Look, it wouldn't surprise me if Uruguay pipped Portugal.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they do rely.
Pepe had it, or Pepe, whatever his name. He had the guy that just touched on the shoulder and he went down. Him, but he had a terrific match in the last match.
He did, and look, if he plays really well, he'll get Suarez sent off.
That's it. Yeah,
and that may be a tactic.
Well, they'll target him.
Watch for it.
Yeah,
watch for it,
him.
And watch for Ronaldo getting more and more freaked out as they sail towards 90 minutes without the lead.
Mm.
All right, the next game, 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, I believe, is even bigger. France-Argentina. One of these teams will not be here by the end of the weekend.
Oh, I can't wait for Maradona to go home.
I think he's still in hospital. I think he'll be making doctors nervous watching this from his hospital bed. But France or Argentina, you'd have to say France has one, not hit top gear, but two, sailed pretty easily through this tournament. They look the part.
Yep.
They could easily win the tournament, whereas Argentina has looked like they'll be lucky to get to the final.
Okay, I'll give you an alternate view. I think France are lethargic, and I think Argentina are battle-hardened. Okay, so they've come out of that game with against Nigeria, really clicking, really knowing that they've got to go forward, and I think France is still a little bit too pedestrian, and I think this is going to be, like on paper, it's France-Argentina, but in terms of form, I think it's the other way around.
You're going on the last two games, really, aren't you? And look, France's attack against Argentina's defence, which has proved a little bit flimsy.
Yep.
I think that'll be the telling factor.
I think the telling factor is going to be Deschamps. I think he's a genius, and he will do now what he needs to do to get this team to win.
Look, I was in Dan Murphy's last night, and I found an Argentinian beer. So apologies to our sponsor, Murray's Brewing Company, but I actually found an Argentinian beer.
Right?
French beer's a bit hard to come by.
Taste like?
A bit hard to drink too.
Does it taste like cocaine?
I didn't try it, but it does have that edge about it. So look, Sunday morning we will either be celebrating with baguettes or Argentinian fire ants.
Look, it's a business end of the World Cup, and these matchups now are just mouth-watering. So I just hope they're not stale, nil or draws. And again, the penalty shootout. Can we talk about that for 5 seconds?
That's going to raise its ugly head, isn't it?
That's
going to be good.
Now, there's actually. Do you know about the substitution rule? There's a new substitution rule that's come in for this World Cup for the very first time. You know about that?
Do tell us.
If a game goes into extra time, both teams are allowed an extra fourth substitute.
Excellent.
I think that's a terrific.
They can put on their
another sub. Yeah, so you use up your 3 subs. That's right. Well, you get to 90 minutes and you used up your 3 subs, and they go, well, that's it. You've got to survive another 30 minutes. No, you go into that 30 minutes. You can now use a fourth, which I think is a terrific idea. To
get some fresh legs on the field.
Well, to stop this fatigue, like you got these poor
players.
No,
I think fatigue's part of it. I think who is the fitter team
that's it.
should go through. I mean, it's not just.
I'm sick of penalty shootouts, quite frankly. I love these penalties during matches.
You love football. You got to love the penalty shootout. It's part of the game.
Get rid of it. And I think I've said this on many occasions to friends of mine who bothered to listen to me, who don't want to shut me down with their alternate views. I think the answer. I think the answer
doesn't like alternate views being thrown.
No, I do. I'm very open-minded, but I like the. I think
wearing a Juve shirt, you'd have to be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the answer lies in Australia on how to break the deadlock. Yes.
Yep.
Touch football. All right. What do they do in touch football when it's a
now
draw
we're
at the end?
Now you're just being silly.
No.
Right.
Touch football. Do you know what they do? They take one player off on each side. Now,
right. We're not going to play.
Now you're a coach. You're a coach. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the tactics that go around? It's a 0 or draw or 1 or whatever it is at the end of 90 minutes, and all of a sudden you go into this extra time period where all of a sudden, one player's got to come off.
If you're going to do that, take it down to 7.
But that's what
you get a result within 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes, another player comes off.
Hey, we've solved so many problems today.
So 11 aside goes
to
10 aside in the 91st minute, and then to 10, 9. What's I must be calculator, and then make it like an 8 aside.
11 to 9 to 7. We need a calculator for that.
You are. I do. I'm tired. But that's what they do in touch football.
Look, I like the idea. I can hear broadcasters around the globe screaming no, but I think it's a good idea.
The purists will say no, but
they're the games on tonight. They're the options. That's what is likely to happen. We will see you sometime on Sunday to analyse, pick it all apart, and
there's another thing that you can do that involves bamboo sticks and and paddles.
Just cut it before he goes too far.
And then there's another way where. All right, that's it for another episode of Putin Football First. Thank you for your company. Where are we going from here?
Separate corners, I think. No, we're going to thank our sponsors, Murray's Brewing Company. Thank you again. It's coming in handy. And Everything Football. Thanks for the shirts. We've gone a little bit continental this time.
We have. Real versus Juve.
Real versus Juve. And look, also from Everything Football, they don't just have shirts. Right. This is your coffee cup.
I have bought a Juve. Oh, thank you. I have actually bought a Juve cup, even though I'm an AC Milan supporter.
Only takes bitter coffee.
Yeah, it takes a large wads of rolled notes.
I think it's called a bishina.
Oh right, no, it's bishina.
That's what I said. Bless you.
See you next time. And another thing, now look, FIFA need to sort out the whole.
Hello. Lucy, yes. Yeah, no, look, I'm sorry about that. I know you called me. Yeah, no, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah, sorry, we won't send him again.